Data handling. In day-to-day life, you might have come across many situations where the result you think it happens will not happen. Chance and probability deals with such kind of situations. Let us learn more about it. Let us talk about few situations now. What is the chance that tomorrow will be Sunday, if today is Saturday? What is the chance that the sun will rise in the east tomorrow? In both the cases, the chances are 100%. We know that the sun always rises in the east, and Sunday always follows Saturday. So we can say that both these occurrences are certain. A situation that is 100% sure to happen is known as a certain situation. What is the chance that a newborn baby will walk? What is the chance that you will pick a red ball from this box of black balls? We know that the chance for either of the situations to occur is 0. A situation that has no chance of occurring is known as an impossible situation. What is the chance that it will rain tomorrow? What is the chance that you will fall while playing? We cannot be 100% certain in case of each of these situations. At the same time, these situations are not impossible. For example, as from the last few days, it is raining. It is likely to rain tomorrow too. Consider the situation of a football game. There are two teams, Team A and Team B. What is the chance that Team A will win? Or what is the chance that Team B will win? Since both the teams are equally efficient and have an equal chance of winning, we say that there is a 50% chance for both the teams to win. When the chances of a situation occurring or not occurring are equal, the situation is said to be equally likely. Let's take another example to understand equally likely. When we toss a fair coin, which is a coin with two alternatives like heads and tails, the coin can land on either head or tail. So here also we say that the result is equally likely. We, however, consider here certain experiments whose results have an equal chance of occurring. Random experiment. Outcomes, equally likely outcomes, events and probability. Let's once again consider the situation of tossing a coin. When we toss a fair coin, heads and tails have an equal chance of occurring. It is like an experiment where the result cannot be predicted with certainty. In other words, the result of each toss is random. An experiment that has random results or results which cannot be predicted with certainty is known as a random experiment. And the result which we obtain from an experiment are called outcomes. In the experiment of tossing a coin, head or tails are the two outcomes. The total number of possible outcomes is equal to 2. As we've seen, the experiment of tossing a coin is equally likely. So we call the outcomes as equally likely outcomes. So head or tail are equally likely outcomes. Let's consider the example of rolling a die. If you throw it once, what are the outcomes? The outcomes are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Total number of possible outcomes is equal to 6. Thus we say there are 6 equally likely outcomes. We can also consider the example of spinning a wheel. If you spin this wheel once, what are the possible outcomes? The outcomes are green, yellow, orange, red, pink, and blue. You've seen some examples of random experiments. Each random experiment has some possible results. Each possible result of a random experiment is known as an outcome. Collection of one or more outcomes make an event. For example, in the random experiment of spinning a wheel, getting yellow is an outcome, or it is also said to be an event. Similarly, getting green is also an event. We say each outcome of an experiment or a collection of outcomes make an event. Let's spin this wheel. What are the chances that the spinner will stop at primary colors? We know that red, green, and blue are said to be primary colors. Number of primary colors is equal to 3. Total number of colors is equal to 6. There are 3 possible outcomes for getting a primary color. Since 3 of the 6 colors on the spinner are primary colors, the chances of getting a primary color is 50%. Thus we say that the probability of the spinner landing on a primary color is 3 out of 6, or 3 over 6, which is equal to 1 over 2. Let us learn about the word probability. We've seen that on tossing a coin, there are 2 possible outcomes. Heads and tails are both outcomes or events that are equally likely. But how do we measure the probability of an event? For example, what is the likelihood of probability of a coin landing on heads? We can measure the probability of an event as the number of favorable outcomes over total number of outcomes. In the case of probability of a coin landing on heads, there is only 1 favorable outcome, that is heads, and 2 total number of outcomes. Therefore, the probability of the coin landing on heads is 1 over 2. Let's take the example of a die. What is the probability of the die landing on an odd number? Here, the odd numbers are 1, 3, and 5. Therefore, the number of favorable outcomes is 3. As there are 6 numbers on the die, the total number of outcomes is 6. Thus, the probability of the die landing on an odd number is 3 over 6, which is equal to 1 over 2. Sometimes it happens that during a rainy season, you carry a raincoat every day, and it does not rain for many days. However, by chance, one day you forget to take the raincoat, and it rains heavily on that day. What could you say about the chance in terms of probability? Could it be 1 in 10 days during a rainy season? Then the probability that it rains is 1 over 10. The probability that it does not rain is equal to 9 over 10. We say this by assuming raining or not raining on a day are equally likely. The use of probability can be seen in various cases in real life. For example, during elections, an exit poll is taken. This involves asking the people whom they have voted for, when they come out after voting, at the centers which are chosen offhand and distributed over the whole area. This gives an idea of chance of winning of each candidate, and predictions are made based on it accordingly. Similarly, Meteorological Department predicts weather by observing the trends from the data over many years in the past. Also, athletes and coaches use probability to determine the best sports strategies for games and competitions. Let us summarize what we have learned. There are certain experiments whose outcomes have an equal chance of occurring. A random experiment is one whose outcomes cannot be predicted exactly in advance. Outcomes of an experiment are equally likely if each has the same chance of occurring. One or more outcomes of an experiment make an event. Probability of an event is equal to number of favorable outcomes over the total number of outcomes. Chances and probability are related to real life.